with the loss of femininity in the West, I think a lot of people take this channel they don't take this channel seriously, like it's seriously deep thinking or that there are important implications coming from the analysis. But I believe that these things are significant. That's why I make the channel. Sometimes you have to read between the lines to see. But today I'm going to talk about how the loss of femininity in the West has created a situation. And I look at it in this video, I'm going to analyze it as if like the loss of a language. So, for example, you have tribes, right? And they're speaking the language that was, some ancient language, right? Of a small group of people. And then when the last person passes away in the tribe, the language is lost forever. And the reason is because people can go back and read what they wrote if they had a written language. They can try to imagine what it was used like and how it sounded. But every language, if you know languages, if you speak languages, you realize there's no way you could recreate a language from the written form. You need the spoken. Spoken form of language is the oldest form. That's why when you look at your mother's letter, or if you hear your mother's voice, it's a very different thing. It affects you emotionally differently, right? Okay, so I realized this morning something very significant is that I've kind of been thinking about this for a while, but what's happening is the lost language of love, basically. And so here's my hypothesis or argument. So go and watch Lea Salonga, On My Own. Okay, that's from Les Mis, if you've ever seen the musical, right? And so in this, now what's interesting is she's supposed to be essentially a virgin, very innocent, falling in love, maybe for the first time, not necessarily virgin, but very inexperienced, like true love, right? And true love happens very young. Like, I know for me, true love was 15, right? And most people, it's like the oldest, like 17, right? So anyway, she's playing a very youthful character. But Lea Salonga, she's Filipino, and she is not young in that. But she absolutely nails that. I mean, she 100% nails it. I would say of anybody I've ever seen attempt that song, there's nobody like her. Why did they choose her? Because this is not a Filipino musical. And it's not a Filipino cast. They specifically chose her, I believe, because she was the only one who could interpret the character properly and sing the song properly. And I'm talking facial expressions, gestures, eyes, and all those type of understandings. As if you ever studied any kind of acting, they come from inside you. So you tend to play characters that are like you or have experiences like you the best, because you understand deeply what the character is feeling. You understand what they're thinking. You understand what they dream of. You feel them. It's almost like you become them for a while, right? So with this character, she just does such a great job. But here's the thing, is that why do they not choose a Western background woman for that role? Because Lea Salonga, I don't know what age exactly she was. I'll put the video below. But she was not young, okay? She was probably 40. And yet she was the best. Watch that song and feel that character. Feel what she's talking about, right? Feel every word. And you'll feel the feeling of a young woman who is in love. Okay? And there is something about that. Like so many of our There's something very powerful about that. And that's what, creates families and humanity, right? If you look back at any great, play, musical, Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet, many of the classics, were they built on essentially what are basic human stories, okay? Just basic human stories. And they will be love stories, right? And so many paintings are by an artist who feels affection and love, okay, for the person they're painting, right? Love is it's one of the themes, right? And it's an important theme because it has a purpose. The purpose of love, obviously it's very pleasurable, but it also sets in motion things that change life and create life, right? So I also want you to watch something else. My second part B of the argument is to watch Big Runga singing or lip syncing to the song Sway. So I'm going to put that below. Now, Big Runga is just, as far as I understand, or at least when she first made that, I believe still today, just a normal person. Immigrant to New Zealand, and she liked that song, and she grooved with that song, and she made a video. So she lip-synced the song, and she made a video to match. Now, the song was originally by a Western woman, so the words are correct. It's almost like Western women can write down what love is, but they can't experience it. Like it's been lost through the masculinization of women. Because in order for love to happen, you need a feminine and a masculine. Those are the two essential ingredients. Feminine and masculine. Those two things create the foundation for the dynamics that goes into the love story, right? Now, of course, you could argue also, very easily, you could argue that the same-sex people with those feminine and masculine traits could also feel those same feelings, but it doesn't change the argument. The argument is really that you need the feminine and you need the masculine. And my hypothesis here is that Western women have lost knowledge, ability to speak the language. And so you're seeing more and more whenever you want a true love story, you need to find an actress or a singer who wasn't raised in the West, who was raised outside the West to play that role. And I'm not saying anybody outside the West. You obviously have to look for a very talented person who, there's a lot of countries that are very Western. You have to look, obviously you have to look. It's becoming harder. But at this moment in time, by and large, I think it's a lost language. And I think it's an important language. I believe that a lot of the stories, the Disney stories, the Brothers Grimes, and all these stories, they pull at our deepest humanity for some strange reason. They mean something to us, right? You have daily life and all that, right? And then you have meaning or things that affect you, right? That's why art and music can be so beautiful, because it touches that other part of you, right? And I think this video is really appreciating the importance of that and mourning the loss, by and large, across the world more and more as Western culture spreads, of this most basic form of human satisfaction and enjoyment. And could even say kind of aspiration or higher elevation. There's something about it. There's something about love that is amazing, that pulls you and makes you, in the same sense of the love for your child, you're willing to sacrifice your life for the kid, right? So it's more than just words and feelings. It's a very, very, I would say, important aspect of living on planet Earth. So anyway, I'm going to put in one notable exception, and I'm also going to make a little comment. So I'm going to put another link down below for 3 videos now, Leah Salonga, Beek Runga, and this third one, which is the song Cheek to Cheek. I don't know when it was written. It feels like the 20s to me. But anyway, the singer, which, sorry, I don't have her name in front of me right now, but she does a wonderful job, and she's obviously Western. But she does a great job with that song. And I got to tell you, it's very wonderful. I like that song. I can watch it over and over. And just as a little side note, I'm just not sure. It's a wonderful performance. Okay, and she's beautiful, and she's a great singer. I mean, she's beautiful. She's a great singer. She's got like a disciplined voice. I mean, she's amazing. She's great. But I just I'm just not quite sure it's quite as good as as Leah Salonga. I think it's great in the sense of a performance. Like, she's doing everything. She's smiling, these huge smiles. It's almost like she's not even from this era in this video. She's so good. But it's like the difference between Broadway and your friends saying funny stuff. Or not Broadway, but vaudeville and your friends saying funny stuff. Like, there's an aspect of performance to it over deep emotions. And that's really what love is. It's not a performance. It's something where your body, your blood pressure, your heart, your mind, everything is connected, right? Everything is there. It's not just showing the smile, right? In real love, you might not smile, right? You might not smile. It's just like that might not happen, right? So that's why I would say, even with the most talented Western women, they were raised in an environment where femininity has been snuffed out. And they're trying to recreate it from a song from the 20s. And it's good, but it's not quite there. And I think it can't be there without having the natural, like being raised in an environment where women are women and men are men. And love sometimes happens. And people sometimes just fall crazy, stupid in that emotion. And yeah, it's not the most important thing in the whole world. But if you want to experience some of the more refreshing, deeper parts of yourself, you might have to travel and see people in more, for lack of a better term, natural or primitive or whatever you want to use, a word for closer to the way humanity evolved. And then you can see, and as it makes sense that we're losing things as we modernize, right? At first, we never think we would lose them. But over, like, you take 6 or 7 generations of watering things down, being embarrassed of things, covering things up. And then it's just like over time, breaking up families where, people aren't always with their father. They don't, many men, the same argument could be made for masculinity, that many men today really it's very difficult for them to feel what is a masculine man because they didn't grow up with a man in the house. And so it's kind of something they're recreating from reading to use the analogy of before, like the analogy of reading to creating it in your real life, right? So I think, ponder that one. All right. Thanks for listening, and check out the 3 videos below. They're all great. And I think you'll enjoy all of them. Love to hear comments on this one. Love to hear comments because this one's deep. This one is thoughtful. And I'd love to hear what you saw. You know, it's like the blind men describing the elephant. They've all got they can't see, but they're all touching. One's touching the tail, describing the elephant this way. The other one describes the toenails, you know, the mouth, you know, the side, you know, the back. Everybody in our journey of life sees different aspects. So I'd love to hear what you have seen and how you see this concept I'm talking about. All right. Hey, thanks for listening. Have a good one, guys.